Hello and welcome to r/AskReddit by Reddit Reader. The question in this video is, people who have survived an attempted murder, what is your story? Please like the video and subscribe for more Reddit content. Had a girl cut my brake lines on my car. Didn't know until we checked the camera from the apartment complex. Luckily she cut straight through them versus slitting them. When I attempted to crank the car, the brake pedal went straight to the floor and I immediately knew something was wrong. Don't leave us hanging, dang it. What happened to her? I don't remember what the initial charges were. She was charged with destruction of property and had to attend mandated counseling for 12 months. Random dude shot me in the chest because he thought I was my drug dealer neighbor. My neighbor was 6'3" and black. I'm 5'11" and white. Joke's on him. All he got were a few cigarettes, some pocket change, and 35 years on an attempted second-degree homicide conviction. Damn, what does getting shot in the chest feel like? Honestly, at first like nothing. I was in total shock. Couldn't feel a thing. After that wore off, though, it burned like hell. I could actually feel the path the bullet took through my chest cavity. This happened a couple weeks ago. It was 4 AM on a Monday night. Playing Rust with some friends and my curtains were slightly open. All of a sudden I hear a loud pop and my monitor jumps and starts smoking. The screen is completely fricked like I had thrown it on the ground, and I was utterly confused as to what happened. Turns out someone was looking for someone to hurt. When they saw me through the window, they thought they had found their victim. A .22 pistol bullet was shot through my window at my chest and was stopped by my monitor. Who knows how long I was aimed at, or why they wanted to hurt someone. All I know is I got really lucky, and I should send a thank you card to sus. I delivered a pizza to a house just outside of the city. On the way back, I stopped to help a car that pulled over in front of me with their hazard lights on. I pulled up beside them and thought it was weird that nobody rolled down a window or made any kind of contact with me for around 15 seconds. The passenger then jumped out of his side of the car yelling that they needed help as he made his way toward my car. I thought something was weird about this. As I started to pull away before he could get to my passenger door, he began shooting at me. I ducked my head after the first shot entered through the back window and embedded in my passenger seat headrest. Another shot entered through the rear window, while the other three only hit the outside metal parts of my car. He missed altogether with another shot. I remember being sure I was about to die as he fired more shots at me. I was very surprised that it wasn't panicky. It was just like, oh, I guess this is it. Turns out it was a plot to rob me. The pizza was ordered and the guys were stationed down the road to intercept me. They knew who I was and they knew that I would be able to recognize them, as I had delivered a few orders to them before. The guy wasn't wearing anything to cover his identity, which leads me to believe that he would have shot and killed me if he would have made it inside my car. By the next morning they had all been arrested. The shooter was found guilty of attempted murder and sentenced to 40 years in prison. He later appealed that sentencing because there was a word wrong in the jury instructions. He won the appeal and ended up being sentenced to 10 years, and was released November of 2010 after 5 years. The remaining 5 years were to be served as parole probation. He was arrested twice for parole probation violation when he was only a couple months away from total freedom. I laughed. TL. Dr. Some people tried to murder me for pizza money. They shot. They missed. They got caught. They did time. But not enough. Then did more. My parents moved to Mozambique during the mid-90s. I was around 8 at the time and started going to school there. A nice private one. Can't complain. My father was working for the Red Cross in Chimoio, so we had a comfortable life. One day, before arriving to school with a friend of mine, some sketchy guy stopped us, offered a whole bunch of money to just take some small box to a white van that was parked at the end of the street. Not even 100 meters away. My lucky day, I guessed. It actually was, but for different reasons. When I was going to go grab the box, my friend grabbed me by the shirt, pushed me, and started running, screaming. Something I didn't understand in Shona, the local dialect. That moment was when it clicked. The moment I looked back, the guy had already vanished. So, wherever you are, thank you, Chud. I will never forget you. Damn, was he trying to kidnap you? Organ trafficking. Neighbor stabbed me in the chest because I hit him over the head twice with a 10-pound weight to try to stop him stabbing his wife. However, I'm fat and the knife didn't go deep enough through my breast tissue to do any damages. Yay for being fat. He's still up for attempted murder though. I was 13. My mother was screaming. Legit screaming. Not the yelling that a lot of people call screaming. They are different. Trust me. At me because I made a tuna sandwich for lunch and didn't make one for her. She was a courier and I never knew when she would be home and when she wouldn't. These were the days before everyone had a cell phone. And she frequently bought lunch on the road. I was done with lunch before she got home. But she still flipped. I was selfish. A horrible daughter. Etc. Anyway, as she was screaming, I was backing away from her until I was pressed against the sink cabinet. She kept coming towards me. I swear to God, before I knew what was happening or could process register, she had the scissors out of the knife block in her hand and she was still coming towards me. Scissor points directed at me. I screamed bloody murder. My brother came rushing out of his room, right off the kitchen, as she started swinging them down at my throat. He caught her hand maybe 2 inches away from my skin, and she was coming at me with enough force that there was still some forward momentum for him to counter. If he had not been there, they would have been buried in my throat. To this day, she doesn't understand why I have nothing to do with her, and the closest thing I've ever received to an apology was "I'm sorry you're not over that." Yeah. She's since been diagnosed as a narcissistic sociopath. Imagine my utter lack of surprise. So I had seizures when I was younger, so the fact that I remember this is amazing to me. My dad was driving my sisters and I to the new home he and my mother had just purchased like a few weeks before, when a woman who had wanted to commit suicide drove head-on in my dad's lane. I remember him switching to the opposite lane a few times, and each time the woman would switch as well, still driving straight for our car. We didn't get hit and cops were called and explained that the woman was trying to kill herself. I don't know what happened to the woman, but I mean I lived. My family and I didn't have any injuries, but we were pretty shaken up. I posted this story already a long while back, but basically, I worked in a jail and a guy from a 1%er biker gang tried to pay $10,000 to have me killed because he somehow got the idea that I was the Fed who busted him and was merely pretending to be a jailer so I could spy on him. Don't do meth, kids. The guy was bragging about it, and one of the other inmates who I had saved from a heart attack with first aid didn't like that, so he beat the living poop out of the guy and then told me about it. Phone call recordings confirmed that he had promised the money to two guys if they shot me in the back of the head while escorting him to court and busted him out. Federal marshals rolled them up, and on his way to court I whispered to him, "Your friends won't be joining us," when we got to the planned ambush point. Instead of a bond hearing, he got charged for trying to have me murdered and organizing an escape. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more Reddit content.